For years, I kept telling myself to be patient. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was being understanding. I thought I was handling things the way God wanted me to. But eventually, I had to ask myself something really difficult. Was I actually being patient, or was I just afraid to move forward? Because sometimes what looks like patience on the outside is really fear, guilt, or avoidance. And I think for a long time, I confused the two. So here's a little background. My ex husband and I have been divorced since 2019, but there's still one major thing that hasn't been fully resolved. We still own a house together, but the mortgage is only in my name. Part of our divorce agreement was that he would eventually sign a quitclaim deed form if he was not able to go through assumption of the loan. But years passed and then it just never happened. And because my name is still attached to the mortgage, I haven't been able to fully move forward or even purchase my own house. So, in a lot of ways, I felt my life was just at a standstill. What made this difficult wasn't really the financial part so much, it was the emotional weight of it. Every time I would bring it up, there was always some other reason why the process didn't move forward, some sort of excuse. So for a while, I kept trying to be understanding because I understand life happens. People go through things, unexpected situations come up. But after years of hearing the excuses, I started to realize there are always going to be another reason to delay it. Life was going to continue to go on. And so, meanwhile, I was the one carrying the burden of the waiting. Honestly, it started bringing back emotions and old trauma to the surface that I had to deal with. I found myself replaying past situations in my mind, rehashing old pain, questioning myself. I was questioning why I allowed certain things for so long. Now, my attorney actually warned me about that, and that this process would stir up old emotions, and that I need to be careful about having conversations with him because he could potentially sway my decision. So I was not to talk to him at all. And the truth of the matter is, I just really understood why he said that. Because in the past, I've talked myself out of taking action before. So here's one of my biggest fears of this situation. I was afraid that if I pushed the issue legally, my ex might leave the house completely and refuse to cooperate. And then I'd end up responsible for both mortgage and rent. So part of me kept trying to avoid that conflict. I just didn't really want to deal with it. I was avoiding. I kept thinking maybe I just need to give it more time, or maybe things will work out for themselves. Maybe this is what patience really looks like. But eventually I realized something really important. I don't think God was asking me to sit around feeling sorry for myself. I think He was really preparing me emotionally, financially, mentally, um, because once I stopped focusing on what my ex was or wasn't doing, I started focusing on what I actually needed to do, which that became really clear after a while. I started paying down my debt, saving money, making some plans. So preparing myself really for the possible outcome instead of hoping things would just magically change. Um, and strangely enough, that's when I finally started feeling that peace because I had a decision, I had a plan. I also think that was the moment when things started to shift for me. Not because everything was resolved yet, because I finally stopped waiting for someone else to move my life forward. I realized that the boundaries were necessary. Taking action is also necessary. And being kind doesn't mean allowing yourself to stay stuck forever. So eventually, after one final conversation and hearing another excuse, I knew it was time to hire an attorney and move forward legally. Not out of anger or revenge, but because I deserve resolution. I deserve an opportunity to move forward. I've been waiting so long for this. It was really time for me to be able to move forward. Now I'm in this strange in between season. The court date is coming up. I still don't know exactly how everything's going to turn out, and I'm nervous about it. There's still so much uncertainty. Things have just gone on for so long, and I felt like, you know, there wasn't going to be a resolution, so I'm hoping there will be one. One thing I know that is different now is just I no longer feel helpless. Um, I finally did something that I needed to do. Even though this process has been painful, I can honestly say that the growth is there that wasn't there before. I'm stronger emotionally, wiser financially, being more honest with myself, willing to choose peace more over people pleasing. So while I don't know exactly what the next chapter will look like, I do believe that I'm going into another season. If you're in a season where you feel stuck, delayed, or just afraid to move forward, I want to encourage you to really ask yourself, are you waiting in wisdom or waiting out of fear? Because sometimes growth starts the moment we finally become honest with ourselves, stop lying to ourselves. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.